Back, guys, to the Desert Spring. My name is John, and today we have this amazing interview with a trans woman, and she has walked away from Christianity and been able to find true peace, true joy, true self love for her being, for her life, for everything. You're not going to want to skip this interview. It's a long one, but it's very packed with information. So guys, buckle up for it. Don't forget to like and subscribe down in the comments if you want to be a part of the show. In the description box, you'll see my email. If you've completed a deconstruction journey, or if you are deconstructing and you just want help and support, I'm always here to help. I love you guys so much. And if you want to be a part of the show, please let me know your story and that you want to be a part of the show, and we can set up an interview and just kind of continue to spread kind of just the joy of the joy of leaving. So, all right, without further ado, let's get to the interview. Here we are. So we're recording. We're live now, and we're here with right. We're here with Ruby, and Ruby, she has a beautiful story about how she has. I'm sorry, I don't mean to use. What pronouns do you want me to use? I'm so sorry.
I go by she or they kind of thing.
Okay.
You know.
So if you don't mind, she. So she's had just an interesting story. She told me a little bit about it, and so we're gonna hear from her live, and we're gonna kind of question her a little bit about her story, about how she got into the faith, her experiences inside of the faith, walking away from the faith, and what she believes now. So without further ado, Ruby, I'm gonna let you take the microphone and shine, and just do your thing.
I'm gonna try my best. Okay. I want to just say hi. The AA beginning. Hi, I'm Ruby. I have a problem. No.
Hi, Ruby.
Okay. So, how to start this? I was born in 1969, so I'm a Gen Xer, and basically my parents, my family of origin really didn't raise me in religion. My father was a man who was like, how should we say, Catholic to death. And he didn't want to have it in his house. He didn't want to discuss it in his house. It was never there. And because my mom was the generation she was, she just listened to what he said and said, boom, there we go. We're going to follow this rule. So I don't want to use the term indoctrination, but I wasn't really brought up with the experience of it. But one of the things, because of who I am, I was diagnosed with dyslexia, and the school's idea of that was, well, they're the R word, and shoved me into a no grade class. I was treated as if I was mentally disabled. So I struggled with my identity at the time. I had an overwhelming fear of death. Like, the idea of dying scared me for a long time, and it wasn't addressed. So, next step, I'm going into early teens. The AIDS crisis happens. I've already had feelings of things weren't right. I wasn't, how shall we say? I didn't feel right in my skin, but I didn't have the words for it.
Yeah.
I struggled with the fact that I'm supposed to be a human being, but no one treats me as such. So,
and at this point, you're kind of in your early 20s, late teens kind of thing?
Early to mid-teens.
Okay.
And the AIDS epidemic hit, and that scared me so much that I was going to be darn sure I wasn't going to be one of those people.
Yeah.
And between those two things, that primed me for when I left home. And of all places I went, and here we go, I end up getting a job down in Texas. Here we go. I go down to the Bible Belt.
Not the Bible Belt.
Looking for something. Boom. I run into my spouse, right? Wonderful Texas woman, right? Deeply religious. Always brought, in the church, like she was like OG, I'm going to say almost a snake handling Christian.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
Deep Southern Baptist. So I go in, I'm in love, and here we are, and it's like they claim to have the answer. They say they have the answer. Going with it, and I gave myself to the Lord. Boom, boom, boom. We got married, and we struggled. We struggled with all kinds of stuff, and it was tough because when I was younger, I loved dinosaurs. But we were in a church that was like, nope, the world's only 6,000 years old, and the devil put the dinosaur bones in the ground to fool you.
I know. Oh, it's so frustrating.
Oh, yeah, no, and here I go, and I'm sure there's going to be people who are going to see this and go, they were never really a believer.
Oh,
right?
100%. 100%.
Yeah, because, and it was a struggle. It was a struggle. But I stayed with it for over 15 years, right? And
that's the thing is, at 15 years, you can't say, oh, they never believed. 15 years. You were, you're doing it. If you're doing it for 15 years, it's in your heart, it's in your soul. This is what you're doing, right?
Not just Sunday.
Right.
Got to go to Wednesday meeting.
Right.
You're on call for the work details.
Right.
The men's group meetings. Oh my God. I can tell all the horror stories there because it's just like, I was like, I care about my spouse. You know what I mean? And it's like, it was just icky. So all this time we're struggling, and one of the biggest things was like, and I've read the Bible a couple of times, all the way through, all the passages. And eventually it was like, okay, like struggling with money. And it's like, well, the one test in the Bible, you can test, and you're supposed to come through. And there were so many churches that did the prosperity gospel.
Yeah.
So tithe the full amount, pre-tax, bum, and extra on the side.
Yeah, I got hit with that a couple of times too, where you're just like, I'm going in, God's gonna show up for me, and you throw out your paycheck, and it's like, oh.
Yeah, and you're living off of ramens. You're fishing for stuff out of the garbage.
Yep.
And it wasn't until, and we're moving from state to state too, because I'm going to say, because part of my thing of also keeping me in was instant people, like we show up because I have a new job, new state, making connections. Well, I'm going to get hooked into a church. It's, at least there you're kind of get the open door, like, come on in,
right, right.
But it became quickly apparent, it's like, I wasn't rich enough to really be accepted.
Yeah.
There is a thing with that going on.
Yeah. Yeah, that you find a church in your neighborhood, because if you go to the one on the wrong side of town that you don't belong in, you, you know, oh, you're
Yeah,
not showing up to church in your Mercedes, man. You must be really struggling.
right. Uh, so that was going on, and then near the end, when we finally came out to Washington, and we're hooked into this church, and it's the same song and dance, and we're still going on. And what really kind of dinged it for me was, and it's a tragic story. Good friend of ours, she was, I'm gonna say, she still is a deep person of faith, and she had a boyfriend. They were fixing to get married. They accepted him in full-heartedly because that's who they concentrate on. And then when they broke up because he was abusive to her, she was kicked out of the church. And it disturbed her so much that she tried to commit suicide in their parking lot. And we found her there. And we got her help in the hospital. And when she came out of the coma, we were there for her. But like when we brought it up, it's like, hey, we need to go there. And they're like, no. The pastor literally said, she made her choice. I washed my hands of her. And it was so cold. It was so awful. But I was so far in. I was like, you don't want to walk away right away.
Yeah.
So I just mentally pulled back. And all this time I'm struggling. I'm a workaholic. Don't have time to think. And then 2015 arrives, and the orange Cheeto comes along. And I was originally raised in New York, and I knew Donald Trump for what he was.
Yeah, the writing was on the wall with that. I mean, there's so many stories about him before he even took office the first time, of like all of the narcissistic stuff.
Just the crooked business dealings in the state of New York.
Yeah. Yeah, he's done a lot of backstabbing to a lot of people.
Yeah, and I would bring it up, and they were like, no, you're sowing dissent among the brethren.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And it was like, and I'm like,
it's crazy.
Right? And then I was saying to my spouse, it's like, I can't do it anymore. We got to find somewhere else. And we stopped. And then COVID hit.
Yeah.
Right? I lose my job, my career, because my company decided to use COVID as an excuse to get rid of everyone they didn't like, because we were a shop, and coincidentally, everybody who voted to not accept the last contract mysteriously got fired. Right? So I'm home alone with my thoughts for the first time in my life. And I had to really come to think about, the whole deconstruction thing, the whole, I came out to my spouse. There was quite the blow up. But then they started questioning their own, because they had their own problems with it. And then, shocker of shockers, when they were a kid, they were sent to conversion therapy because of their gay tendencies. Ends up, we were two in the closet trans people married to each other. And we decided, okay, we're coming out of the closet, and essentially we switched wardrobes and everything, and we've been much better off since.
Yeah.
And I kind of went to the basically the hard atheist route, because it's one of those things that's like I kind of need hard proof to like okay, like you brought up the double slit experiment.
Right. Before we were chatting on the show before we got onto the show, and so that in case they were wondering why, like, I didn't hear about it. We were chatting before the show. Don't worry about it.
Yes. But yes, it's like, yeah, that's the nature of the thing, and it's kind of a mystery.
Right.
But I'm not willing to ascribe purpose to it yet.
Right.
And I think that comes from the fact that in my young informative years, where like you could instill like, oh, the tooth fairy is real,
yeah,
or you know, that didn't take. That kind of preserved a lot of my thinking skills, and that's probably why I struggled in the religion.
Yeah.
You know, that like I couldn't just believe in magic. And so I kind of took the atheist route. My spouse, however, couldn't do that. They actually went to a pagan religion, and I actually got to talk with Dr. Dale Ray. He's the founder of Recovering from Religion, and one of the things he said is to, like, don't force it. It's just,
yeah.
if they walk away and they need a placeholder, let them have it.
Yeah.
Let them go for anything. And it was the best advice I've ever gotten. And we pretty much right now, we kind of coexist really well together.
Yeah.
Let's see here. And that kind of brings us close up to the to where we are now.
Yeah. So, and you know, that's the thing that to me, one of the biggest problems with Christianity in general is that, you know, whenever they see something, they try to take that evidence, whatever it may be. They want to take that evidence as fact for their stance, right? So, yeah. Like, you know, I'm sure you've heard of this before, but that native tribes all over the world have flood myths and all sorts of stuff, and so then they use that as factual evidence. Well, everybody on the planet, all these native tribes have a myth of the flood, thus Christianity is true. And it's just like, yes. No, wrong conclusion there, you know? Because if you look, you know, the only time the flood's mentioned is in the book of Genesis. The book of Genesis is written by Moses, or attributed to be written by Moses. So Moses is writing about events that happened thousands of years before his time. So he's writing about a flood myth that he's heard about, right? Doesn't mean that it was real. Doesn't mean that it was global to the extent. He was just writing shit down on a piece of paper, and because the piece of paper is old, we believed it. You know, that's really what it comes down to.
Read the Tales of Gilgamesh?
Oh, I've heard of that, but I'm not familiar with it.
Oh my God, you got to find yourself a translation of that.
Okay.
Because, okay, essentially, if Gilgamesh predates the Torah.
Okay.
Right? So Abraham would have known these tales. And Gilgamesh essentially would be, you would consider him Nimrod, who built the Tower of Babel.
Okay.
And he meets a character, they give him a different name, but it's Noah, who survived the world flood, and who a serpent stole the fruit of eternal life from him, and Gilgamesh goes to get it back.
That's interesting. I got to go look into that. That sounds interesting.
I don't see that. It's so crazy. It's like, oh, this is a spin. This is a spin on something older.
So cool. That's so cool. So let me ask you this. Whenever you were dealing with a lot of the tensions that you were feeling inside of your body, with your expression, with all that stuff, what walk me through some of those feelings that you had while you were in the church, convincing yourself that you were happy, convincing yourself that this is what God wanted for you, that, you know, walking in the direction where you feel great now is a direction of hell and fire, right? Like all that kind of stuff. Because I know that puts so much fear in my personal journey. um I was so afraid of hell that was literally the thing that basically kept me in the faith so much longer than just walking away much faster, is because of how afraid of hell I was. And so that whole thing, can you kind of walk us how you handled all that?
Oh my God. That was a lot of
Tears in the shower.
yeah, it was a lot of guilt and shame. That was foremost. It was there was a lot of victim blaming that I noticed, because like if I did get to talk about it, it was a lot of like, well, that's because you're a fallen sinner, and
Yeah.
that's wrong, and just try to wipe that out of your head. And it's like, how to put it? It's like don't think of a polar bear, but that's all you can do now.
Right. Right.
Right. Right. What kind of kept it going a little bit was the fact that I was married. I was married to somebody.
Yeah.
And it's like,
A little more
okay,
complicated.
this is what we're supposed to do. This is who we're supposed to be. This is, you know, it was literally a program mantra. It's like, well, my feelings don't matter. I'm supposed to be this,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And just the terror. I couldn't talk to my wife, or now husband, for so long. It's weird. I think when I think back, I mix the pronouns up, because then he was a she and
Right.
I was the he then, and
Right.
it was like, now it's like, now I'm the she, and
Right.
it's like it's weird. It's almost like it happened to somebody else now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the I think that's the insidious thing about it. It's like your natural inclinations are told to you to be wrong, and not, and just because it's a random rule, it's like, don't eat pork,
Right.
well, why? Oh, at least with pork you could go, well, it's got parasites or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. You know, and that's the thing that I notice a lot is, my sister, growing up, watching my sister kind of take the flack that she was given, because my sister, she's been signal she's been single, she is single, all that kind of stuff. But basically, when she turned like maybe 19, 20, something like that, is whenever she didn't come out publicly, but she just didn't hide it anymore. She just kind of went and started dating girls and stuff. And oh my God, the way my family took it. I can't tell you how many times that, because so my sister, she has an illness. She has a kidney disease. And so because the way the United States is set up, she can't have a life. She has to be poor in order to receive health care. She can't go
Yes.
out and get a career and buy a house. That's off the table for her if she wants to stay alive, because she has to make less than a certain amount of money so that the insurance and the government will cover it for her. But if she makes even $2 over that amount of money, suddenly it's a death sentence for her. Super
Yeah,
fucking
no,
stupid. Super fucking stupid, by the way. Let me, right?
no, it's
It's,
very, very stupid, and
it's absolutely crazy, but you know,
yeah,
so because of
and
that,
the victim blaming of it,
excuse me.
like she didn't choose to be sick,
Oh yeah, 100%.
she, but a lot of the churches that I was in, it's like the doctrine is, well, you've got sin in your life, that's why this happens, and it's like,
Yeah.
why?
Yeah.
And it's like when I came out as trans, it's like, I just stopped pretending to be a man because it was so performative. It was so
Oh.
like, I
It's
got to
tough.
stay away. I've got to make sure that, I don't have my hands in the pocket wrong. I got to have the right type of clothes.
Right.
I got to not care about my appearance in a certain way. And it's just like, it was so draining. And then when I just dropped it all, I just started acting natural.
Yeah.
And
It's a weight.
people
It's a weight
like,
off your shoulders. It really is.
right. It's incredible. It's so freeing to just do that. And it's
Yeah. And that was the thing with my sister, the church would come over to the house, like 6 7 people from the church would all come. My mom would make my sister sit in the middle, and they'd have this little culty circle, going around my sister, praying for my sister, trying to cast out this demon that's inside of my sister. And I can see it. I'm snickering in the corner because this shit's crazy, and I'm looking at my sister, and she's performative with it. She's doing the theatrics, and I asked her later. I was like, "Were you really like all those convulsions?" She's like, "John, I just wanted the shit to end." you know because they wouldn't stop unless she started doing all this stupid shit.
Like slinging the spirit. You don't want to get left out. So when they punch you on, touch you on the forehead, you go down.
Right. My favorite thing.
Very performative.
Yeah.
And, it's and it's in a weird way. Okay, I'm going to say I'm jealous of your sister, right? Because when I did leave, no one cared to check up on us.
Yeah.
No one cared to say, "Hey, why don't you show up anymore?" Yeah. They were just gone.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so crazy.
And a few times I've ran into members, I've gotten a weird look, and the look was almost like, "Are you who I?"
We've got a bad connection. So what the last time you ran into members, you said, "Are we?" and then you cut out for like 30 seconds or however 5 seconds.
I'm sorry. No, I would get the look. Like if I ran into people who knew me in the before time, they would get a look of like, "Are you who I think I am?" Who I think you are, and they get real uncomfortable and just do a U-turn and go away. And it was just like they just didn't want to deal with it.
Yeah. It's funny, they have such an out group, when you're inside, you're inside. But the second you do even the smallest thing, like you said, there'll be like a small little hook. Hey, you should come back. No, cut.
Yeah. Not worth our time.
Yeah, it's so wild, But it's actually really sad to see though, because on the one hand, when you're receiving these experiences for yourself, I didn't go through anything, any sort of like homosexuality or gender change and nothing like that. For me, simply walking away, and whenever I walked away toward atheism first, like kind of like we had initially spoken. When I was walking away, I walked away toward atheism, and even in that, it was like, oh, Oh wow. Oh, look at that guy. Oh, he's so weird. And it's like you show up at a family dinner and it just the atmosphere's different. You go somewhere you go, you hang out, you try to hang out with your friends and it's just like they don't see you the same way. They don't want to hang out with you anymore and it's crazy. Um one of my friends growing up in church well, I say one, I've seen it so many times, completely ostracized by your family,
Right.
completely
Oh yeah.
cut out by your family, like you don't even exist. I mean, it happens all the time, you know.
Yep.
And so that's why for me it's like, my beliefs are kind of whatever. I don't I'm still at the point where I'm like, yeah, I don't know what the hell is up there. But for me, it's more important to just separate the idea that God equals Christianity, because it
Yeah.
just, if we could just decouple that, the world would be so much more peaceful, because then we wouldn't be judging people for expressing themselves the way that they want to express. We wouldn't be
Right.
judging people for a certain skin tone just because they're a little bit browner than we. We wouldn't be deporting all these kind of crazy because they're the out, like just all this insanity that's basically
It,
started because of the
it,
conservative Christian movement, you know?
oh God. Yeah. Christian nationalism is a blight on our nation.
Oh
It,
yeah.
it really is.
Yeah.
You know.
It's really rough. We won't go down the politics route because that, I feel like on my channel, religion is hard enough. To do religion and
It's hard.
politics, I
It's
never hear
hard.
the end of it.
They're so linked right now, though. That's the
Yeah.
problem. But
And people act like they're not. They act like they're not. I had made a video a long time ago about, you know how Christianity was basically snatched up by the right. You know, and the comments I got on that video were, "You're so stupid. You don't know what the hell you're talking about." And I'm like, "How'd you vote?" you know, let's talk about it. But yeah.
oh, you know,
So you were walking away, you got the kind of eyes. What about some of the more deeper things, right? So what about kind of like the internal feelings, the internal fears, the internal thoughts? Were you really struggling with the idea that, like what was your thought there? Was the thought like, this just has to be absolute fucking insanity, and it is such an imprisoning world that I'd rather be outside? Or were you, because where I came from whenever I was walking away from Christianity was, there's no way that a designer, if there is a designer of this entire cosmos, can be explained by this petty ass book. Like that's
right.
the way that I kind of like walked away. And I know some people walk away differently. My sister walked away toward atheism and stuff. And so I'm not, and I did too. So I'm not, I'm not trying to push an agenda on anything. I just want to learn how people kind of, how did that feel, like those deeper things? Because I know for me, it was tears in the shower. It was crying. It was feeling so alone. Just trying to latch on to any sense of stability I could find inside, and not finding anything, crying out to the void, and the void is empty. like
Uh,
like what was
uh,
it for you?
you, before leaving, like for a good 2, 3 years before, it was literally a lot of that internal turmoil of like you said, just crying.
Yeah.
My depression got so bad. It was so bad. I stopped taking my medications. I stopped. It was just like, well, suicide's a sin, but not caring for yourself long enough, well, that just accomplishes the same thing, is my thought.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
uh, and awful. Finally happened when it was like, I can't do this anymore. I can't associate with you people anymore.
Yeah.
It was so final. And it was like, I walked away. I kind of like had to reconnect with a lot of like my science leanings, my what happened in those 15 years that I missed.
Yeah.
I went digging into that. I got into the atheist debate bro sphere, because that's like WWE wrestling for me. I think that's what I turned into. That's what I turned into. WWE wrestling. And what occasionally the hell thing would come up. The death fear would occasionally come up, like, because if you're old, I am 56 years old. I am sitting here and
You're
it's
young.
like, I know.
That's young.
Huh?
That's young.
Okay. Tell me that when you get there. Anyway.
He's like, okay, bud.
Right? But I'm going to say, when you get close to 50, you kind of go into your head, it's kind of cemented in a little bit, like, the ride's almost halfway over. It's
Yeah.
It's going to end, and you start losing your fear of it, right? And I had never been more afraid. Like, I always had the fear from the beginning, but they instill that fear of death, and if you did it wrong, you're going to be tortured forever.
Yeah.
And that was horrendous to get over.
Yeah.
And it would be like, I would get into, like, things would get tough, and I'd go, did I do right? Is this a test? Is this something or other? And I'm going to say about it, for the last year and a half, it's been like, if I have those thoughts, I sit there and I go, no. like that's crazy talk now.
Yeah.
I can honestly go, like, no, that's old tapes. I need to let that go and walk away from it. But that was a long struggle. That was probably the longest struggle I've had, was, what if I'm wrong? The question, what if I'm wrong? And, there's a reason Pascal's wager stuck around for so long. It's a weak argument, but it's so effective.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just the fact that, like, are you going to plant your flag 100%? No one in the right mind would say no. I'm going to definitely, I'm 100% sure.
Right.
And that's where they can get a foot in the door.
And that's where they keep the foot in the door for so many people.
The foot in the door.
Yeah. Yeah, I know for me, whenever I was walking away, I was in a weird ping-ponging state where it was like, I want to feel safe, but this is so fucking stupid. I want to feel safe, but this is so fucking stupid, And it's just like, it's like this ping pong, because, you can't argue. The Bible just doesn't make sense, for the idea that God is an all-loving, unconditionally loving God. Even for just that, not all the other things that he claims that Christians claim that God is, right? Just unconditionally loving, it falls apart in the Bible, You don't even get out of Genesis, right? So my thing that I bring up is the story of Cain and Abel, right? Everybody looks at that story as, technically speaking, we could go into the whole, if God is all-knowing, why didn't he take the fucking tree of life out of the garden? Why couldn't he see that one coming? Like,
I'm not a parent. By God.
Right? But the thing for me was, like, right after that whole scene, Cain and Abel, they decide that they're going to bring their fruits to God for an offering, right? And Abel was a shepherd, and Cain was a farmer. And so Cain grew the best vegetables that he could grow. the best fruits he could grow, the best nuts he could grow, and he brought those as an offering to God. Abel is a shepherd. Abel just picked up what he had access to him, was freaking sheep, because he's a shepherd, right? And God looks at Abel's sacrifice and is like wholly praised by it, and it's just like, wow, this is such beautiful. And Cain literally cursed Cain. And if you read those few scriptures after Cain gives his offering, he is a total ass to Cain, right?
Right.
And it's like, this is what Cain had access to. I'm sorry Cain didn't grow up in a place where he had access to a Rolls Royce, God. Abel had access to a Rolls Royce. Cain had access to a Civic. He brought what he could, and you're shitting on it. You know?
Yeah. My favorite one is like, you just go a couple of chapters forward, and it's like Isaac and Esau. You know what I mean? It's like Jacob and Esau.
Jacob and Esau.
Yeah, because God loved Jacob, who lied, cheated, and steal.
Yeah. Like what?
Because he was furry.
Yeah, because Esau was furry. That's right. It was like, and then he also didn't speak great English or great Hebrew, whatever it was, right? It's like he was like seen as more of a rudimentary kind of a brute of a person. So it was just, oh my God.
Right, God the potter didn't like his pot, and so
yeah, exactly.
tried to shit on it and break it.
Exactly. So let me ask you this: as far as I know, this is going to be kind of a broad, and it's probably too broad of a question, but what parts in the Bible for you were the things where it is like, oh, this doesn't make sense and I'm out? Like, what was that for you? For me, it was learning about Paul, because I grew up in the church, learned plenty about Paul. I never knew that Paul never met Jesus, that he was a self-proclaimed apostle, and, you know, all this kind of stuff. And a lot of his teachings directly go against what Jesus taught. Right? Jesus says, turn the other cheek. Paul says, curse them and send them to hell. You know? So it's just like these dramatic differences. And so that's why for me, you know, that broke me. Learning that the book of Genesis was written by Moses, like that little switch in my head going off of the Moses who, in Exodus, who walked out of Egypt, that Moses, how is he writing about events of thousands of years? How did he nail that conversation in the garden between Adam and God word for word? How did he do that, right? And so that's the kind of stuff that did it for me. So for you, what are kind of like, what were the kind of the writing on, in the biblical term, the hand on the what is it? The writing on the wall, when the hand, you know, they were having that whole thing and the hand just writes on the wall.
It was a death by 1,000 cuts. Yeah. It really was. It really was. I brought up Esau. That's a shitty thing to do. Abraham, you know, trust him up, put him on the slab, and it's like, oh, psych, you know. But that's a shitty. Bats are birds.
Yeah.
You know. I mean, I couldn't square that circle. That was a big sticking point for a long time.
Yeah.
Like that
is the product, ladies and gentlemen. That is the product of trying to get this book to force science inside this book. That is what happens. Yeah. You have to ignore the dinosaurs. Ignore them. They don't exist. And then you have to gaslight the entire world on the existence of so much shit. And then you have to take all of science and cram it in this book and make it make sense.
The art.
Yeah.
You know, it was 1,000 cuts. It was 1,000 cuts. And ironically, too, like the Beatitudes kept me in the most. Because they made sense. Like, even though the parts then, when I think about it later, it's like, yeah, well, God lets sparrows drop dead from starvation all the time. Uh,
Yeah, yeah,
but you know that the poeticness of that kept me in. But the majority of it was so contradictory all the time. It was literally a patchwork to keep it all together. You know, you had to put little patches here, little patches there to like make it work and make it cobble it together. It was a Rube Goldberg machine of how the universe worked, you know.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of work. I don't know if that's why it's so effective, that it takes so much to.
Yeah. I think that's why they start so young.
Running.
You know.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know how many Catholics you've run into, but like the old school Catholics would be like, they'll take a Bible out of your hand and say, "Don't read that. Just do what the priest says."
That's crazy. No, I've never experienced that. That is insane. Because I grew up, you know, independent fundamental Baptist. For us, it was like, these words are completely true. And I'll give it to them. I will give it to them. No matter how offensive it was, they lived it. You know? It did not matter. You know, a woman going up on the stage, oh, she was not preaching. Matter of fact, she wasn't even allowed up on the stage. If she was going to speak, she could speak from the floor. She was not allowed on the podium to be above everybody and to teach. Women teaching, demonic. Women, you know, making the decisions for the family, demonic. You know, just like every little tiny thing. And for me, when I got divorced, you know, you see what the Bible says about a person who gets divorced. If it's not for infidelity, then you just have to wait until something happens. And so I was like, I'm 24. What, am I going to wait around my entire life and never marry another person just because this is what this fucking book says? You know?
Hey, no, it's crazy.
Yeah.
You want an experience? You got to find some Messianic Judaism people. That's an experience.
Oh man, do you have an experience?
Passover, where it explains Jesus, because these are people that, because we had that experience a little bit when we were in New York for a while. We were we went to the I guess, for better lack of word, church. I mean, it wasn't a synagogue official, but they followed all the Old Testament rules with the New Testament.
That's crazy.
That is wild.
That is crazy. That is wild. Yeah, yep. I joke all the time because one of the things, so whenever I walked away from Christianity, I started basically going in everywhere because I was just kind of researching, trying to figure out what I believed, right? And my family would often tell me, "Oh, I'm joining those cult things," you know, and it's like, I'm not joining a cult thing. Matter of fact, have you looked at yourself? You appear to be more trapped than I am, you know. But yeah.
How many religions did you try after?
Oh God, I don't even want to say. So I walked away from the Baptist thing. Then I married Pentecostal, right? And then for a while I hopped around different Christian denominations until I learned that it was just different sides of the same shit. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to go outside of Christianity. Tried Hindu, tried Buddhism, tried a couple of the native things, just all sorts of different, and I kept seeing this kind of like this mysterious thing, but then the religions would try to, oh, and it has rules, you know, and it was like this mysterious thing has rules, and it's just like, and everybody's rules are different. None of the rules are the same, you know. It's completely different for every single thing, but there's like this little tiny, you know, thread of, yeah, there's this mysterious thing that exists. And so that's where I left it. I'm like, okay, so there seems to be some sort of mysterious thing that exists, and I'm happy with that, you know. I don't necessarily think that the mysterious thing that exists is concerned about whether I believe in a book that was written by some dudes 2,000 years ago, you know?
Right.
And it's just, but yeah, my dad one time told me, he was like, yeah, you need to be careful with those things because, sometimes they'll say that, they're talking to God, but then God will tell them to go kill people and go to the gas station and go murder all these people and go do all this stuff. So you need to shape up and you need to be careful. And I told him, I was like, Dad, honestly, they may be right because have you read the Old Testament? I think they
Right.
got the right guy. Matter of fact,
Right.
they may be closer, you know, than you are because you're saying that God is this all-loving thing, while these crazy cults are out here saying that, oh yeah, God's telling us to go kill Abraham and Isaac, right? you know, Fools, April Fools, don't kill your son. It was just a joke all along, you know. So
Oh.
yeah,
No, because like I kind of ran the gamut as well. Like I said, I went to the Messianic. I even tried like a brief little thing with the Mormons. I didn't even want to go with the Scientology people. Those
now that is a
uh,
cult.
that is out there. I went to a Buddhist thing once, which was kind of nice, but I have too much ADHD to sit there and meditate.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I went to kind of a Buddhist thing, and it was just kind of shocking. I did enjoy the meditating aspect of it, and I'm kind of the same way. I am squirrel brain 1,000% of the time, and so just sitting there, although it was uncomfortable, I did actually like it. Um, but yeah, then they got into some of the chants and stuff, and I was like, oh, this is getting just as weird. so but no, and so I also went down a pagan route. I wanted to research a lot of kind of what the pagan, which is why I had messaged you whenever you said that your husband was pagan,
Yeah,
Nordic pagan, I think is what you said, right?
yes,
So
he practices North Pagan.
so what exactly is that? Is that, 'cause first of all, for anybody who's on the show, everybody knows Christians. We try to kill everybody, and if you know, that's just kind of what they do. So if you don't believe in Jesus, it's immediate death. And so I mean, Native Americans, right? They were all the Aztecs, right? I mean, they didn't come with the best of intentions for the Aztecs either. And
Right.
so, if you don't believe exactly what their beliefs are, then they're just going to kill absolutely everybody. And the pagans, I have a couple of friends who up in Alaska were Druids,
Huh?
and that's kind of the same, Nordic pagan Druids. That's kind of in the same area, roughly.
They're,
Um,
they're sort of related in a way. He did this big deep dive into the whole like sagas and the legends. He got in touch with a couple of fellow practitioners, um, and he has regular ceremonies, and I think this is the part of the thing because he's even said to me like do I think Thor is there? No, but it's something to focus on. It's like, okay, today I'm going to focus on this aspect to give structure. At least that's how he's described it to me. He's like, he uses it to structure. Um, for him, the ceremony is all important. It's like, okay, I'm going to do this ceremony and it gives him peace of mind, and I'm all for that.
yeah, yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. For me, I never judge a person's beliefs unless it's Christianity. Then I do judge. um,
that's okay.
so,
I'm like, I know what he looks like.
but yeah, that's why for me it's like, and I think that can be very important because when you're walking away, it can get very scary. it can get very scary. And whenever I walked away, I know that I had to like, okay, God, I'm walking away from Christianity, but you need to keep me safe in all of this kind of stuff, you know? And so it's like, even though I was walking away from Christianity, I was so scared that it was like I was sleeping with an open Bible beside my bed every night, and I was praying and doing devotions while I was actively, walking away from it because, you know, I grew up in it. That's all I remember. And so it is so deeply ingrained in my psyche. Hell,
Mm.
Satan, demons, dark entities trying to steal you away from the truth. And so as you
Right.
know, when that's deeply ingrained in your psyche and it's a your dreams are off the charts because that's what your body's processing. That's what your brain is processing. And so I got a lot of demonic dreams that I was super, super scared of. And so that's why I would go to bed with a Bible on my chest kind of thing because I was like super, super scared of the whole process. Um,
Ah.
but lo and behold, whenever you walk away from it and you're not afraid of it anymore, then it all just melts away and you go back to this like just joyous life. So let me ask you
Yeah.
this, because I know everybody tends to have a different kind of perspective of the entire thing, but I do want to ask you this because from the Christian perspective, it is impossible. Have you been able to find peace, love, joy outside? Dare I say it? Oh my God! Oh my God! Hold on! Hold on! Have you been able to? Oh, peace, joy. There's no way. You can't find that outside of Christianity. It's impossible. It's fake peace from the devil. It's fake. Your happiness and joy are fake. It's from the devil.
Oh my God. Oh my God. That is, okay. Oh, I can honestly say I have never been more happy now
Yeah.
that I've walked away. I was absolutely miserable under Christianity completely. Um, it just sucks the joy out of everything because if you're enjoying yourself, you're doing something evil or sinful.
Right. Right.
It's just awful.
Yeah.
But yes, no, I actually love myself now.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing.
Yeah. Self love is something they don't talk about it in Christianity because why love yourself? You're a filthy sinner, you know?
Love God first.
Right, right. And you're a filthy sinner and you're not deserving of love. You're not deserving of heaven. By God's grace are you even allowed to make a decision for yourself, you know? And so
Right.
yeah, when I walked away from Christianity, I had to go on a self-love journey too. Because I genuinely had I'm convinced that the way that Christianity controls people is through their shame that they
Yes.
instill on you. They instill you with the shame, and then they use that shame to control you. I'm convinced of it.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
when you just drop all of that, you get so happy and giddy that you just love yourself. You want to wear whatever you want to wear, go for it. You want to do whatever you want to do, go for it. You know, you whatever, and you become so giddy. You know.
Yeah. You end up singing. I mean,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
like
Like, oh my God.
can we be honest? Christian music sucks.
Yeah. 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 But you can't listen to anything else because anything else is of the devil and it doesn't please God.
Right. Right. Was it the Seventh Day Adventists?
Oh my God.
No instruments.
Just a cappella, just the whole time. Like some chanting shit, you know?
Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I love acapella music, you know?
Yeah, yeah, it's good. It's good music, but okay. Well, Ruby, thank you so much for coming on the show. It was
It was a
an
wonderful talk.
it was an absolute pleasure getting to know you and getting to interact and have this conversation because my goal is to show people there is happiness away. There is joy and peace, true peace, outside of the religion, you know? And it's not something, there's so much gaslighting that's involved. You're not experiencing peace. No, that's not peace. That's not joy. That's not, you know, it's just, and so that's why for me, it's like, that's why this channel is just such an important thing for me, is because, you know, I just want to show people what they end up walking to, you know, because like we had said, everybody kind of has to latch on to different things, and depending on the severity of their psyche, the severity of what they grew up with, they, you know, a different thing may be right for them, you know. And so that's why for me
is a thing.
Right. And that's why for me it's like I want to be here to support people as they walk away from that, because as you've experienced, as I've experienced, it is traumatic and it is life uprooting, and depending on the people you're around, it could be the worst thing that's ever happened to you. And they use that to keep you in. you know?
What is it? There's I don't know if you've heard of it, but oh God, I just had the name. It was like the Secular Project or something. It is. There's an underground network for preachers that lost their faith, but they don't know how to do anything else. So they have a support group to try to wean their way out.
That's crazy. I've never heard of that. I'm gonna look into that. I'm gonna look into that.
Yeah, no, that is a thing. Recovering from a religion, that's who I talked, where I talked to Dr. Darrell Ray.
Yeah.
He's fantastic to talk to. And their network's great because they don't try to turn you into an atheist. They just try to get you hooked up with new communities.
Yeah, for sure.
Because one of the things I've noticed when you walk away from Christianity, you really don't know who you are, because if you're really deep into it, it's every aspect of your life.
Yeah.
And then when you walk away from it, well, who am I? I mean, it's like you have to start with the basics. Like, is there a bird watching club nearby?
Yep. Yep.
You know, that's what you have to start with.
Yep. Go find a hobby. Go find some way to connect with people, because inevitably, you know, people don't realize that the church, the main function of the church, has been community. It really has been community. And if church is the only thing you ever did, then the church is your only sense of community, you know?
Right.
And that's why whenever people walk away, they tend to feel very lonely. You know, I know when I did, I felt alone and I was alone for like 2-3 years, something like that, just because I didn't, to me, my thoughts were crazy. My beliefs were out there. The idea, you know, and it was like, isolating from the family, isolating from my friends, and so it was like I didn't necessarily know where to go to make new friends, and so it was tough. It was super tough. So, well, Ruby, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure getting to meet you, getting to hear your story, and I hope somebody out there gets to find relief. I really hope that this video goes out to support somebody who's trying to walk away from it. So, okay.
Like long and prosper.
There it is. Yeah, exactly. Well, okay. Well, we'll go ahead and end the recording here. Well, there you have it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the interview. I know I had a lot of fun making it. So, please don't forget to like and subscribe the video. Down into the bottom, you'll see, into the description, not into the bottom. Don't look underneath here. Start lifting up your laptop. What? Under the bottom? No. Down in the description, you'll see my email. It's desertspring111@gmail.com. Please reach out to me if you want to share your deconstruction journey, if you want to share, if you want support in through it, you can also reach out to me there. And I'd love to support you through that journey. So thank you, guys. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for watching this amazing episode. And we'll see you in the next one. All right. Cheers.